Hey, this is Nikki. We have a very special guest with us today. His music is widely known and a staple of rock. He has over 20 albums, 2 certified platinums, 6 certified gold, over 15 million albums sold worldwide, and he's coming to our neck of the woods for OC Bikes on September 17th. George ThoroGood, welcome.
Thank you. Geez, Nikki, have I really done all that?
You really have. You have a very impressive career.
Well, thank you for the update.
Yeah, I would love to dive into a little bit of that. So, first of all, you're from the area, right? You're from Delaware. You're from Wilmington.
Correct. Northern Delaware.
Yes. And so you have a lot of musical history in Delaware. So what's it like to be playing in the area again?
Well, it's always a gas, where we lived in Northern Delaware, Jeff Simon and I were neighbors practically. And right down the road, we were so close to the Pennsylvania border. If you can believe this, we used to walk into Pennsylvania, and right on the corner there was the house where Bill Haley grew up, from Bill Haley and the Comets.
Wow.
So that's how close we were to rock and roll. Didn't even know it when we were kids. So I guess maybe it was something destined to do. I don't know. But being in that area again, it always seems like there's a little bit of an extra buzz when the Destroyers hit the Delaware Valley, tri-state area, whatever you hip cats are calling it. And the good guys and my two brothers, they were very motorcycle enthusiasts. My one brother, he owned an Indian, and he owned 2 Triumphs. And my brother Peter, he rode a BSA and a Triumph. And Jeff's father rode an Indian. And Jeff Simon and Billy Blau were both active with motorcycles. So I'm the odd guy left out. I'm still waiting for my chopper, park it outside the house, piss off the neighbors. I'll probably never ride it, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, well, maybe OC Bike Fest can definitely sharpen your options for motorcycles. You can learn a lot, It's definitely a very unique place to be. Have you ever been before?
To the festival, to the bike festival?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we might have done it once before. You can clear me up on that. Or other than that, I think it's new to us.
Okay, cool. So it'll be it's a very cool experience for sure. I think my first festival was last year, and there's nothing really like it. So we're really excited to have you there.
Well, Nikki, like yourself and the Destroyers, we only like to do cool things.
Yes. Perfect. Certified cool.
Yes.
Because you're going to be there.
Right.
All right. So you've done several extremely popular covers in your time, including One Bourbon, One Scotch, and One Beer. And you do them very well. How do you take a song like that and really make it your own like you did?
Well, let's hip-scotch back about a step and a half. We were always fond of doing what we call obscure material, not necessarily covers. Linda Ronstadt and Joe Cocker had that market. That's what they did. They did covers of songs that were pretty much already big hits by the Beatles and the Everly Brothers and people like that. Which we tried to do was try to find something obscure. But that house rent blues thing we tagged on to Bourbon Scotch was the real deal. Jeff Simon and I were not literally thrown out of our house in Boston because we couldn't pay the rent. And we'd crash at friends' houses, and we used to have house rent parties for the people who were putting us up. If their rent was due at the end of the month, and we'd pass the hat, we'd play, 2, 3, 500 songs, and the place would be packed, and we'd pass the hat, and they'd have enough money at the end of the night to pay their rent. So we were actually kind of living that, You don't have to be an ancient blues man to be saying, well, how can you relate to that? I said, everybody's got rent problems. What are you talking about? Nobody escapes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you just make it your own personal story then.
Well, I related to it. It was John Lee Hooker's story. Of course, I heard it off of his record, House Rent Blues, but I tagged it onto that. And it was that time we were going through the same experience. So we were walking around in the street saying this song all the time. I said, why don't you just throw it into the song and lead into Bourbon, Scotch, and Beer? That might be a clever way to go.
Right. So do all of your songs have that personal touch to it? Is that how you like to make music?
Some of them do. Very few songs that I do, that I personally relate to. 95% of them are flatly for entertainment purposes. House Rent Blues is an exception. There's a couple of songs there. They go, well, yeah, that's me, or yeah, I did that. But mostly, no, it's for the fans. It's entertainment purposes.
Yeah, you can't beat that, though. And it's definitely entertaining. I mean, obviously.
Well, That's what we wanted. We said, I think people will get a kick out of this. Let's check it out and see if they do. If everybody's on the dance floor and they say, play it again, we end up in the studio doing it.
Perfect. All right. So you have an incredible history of touring going back to, I just learned about the 50-50 tour, which was really cool. 50 states in 50 days, but it was 51 because you also hit DC, right?
Right. I was a doubleheader.
Yeah. So that sounds, exhausting, but what kind of energy do you look for in a tour? You're clearly an expert in this area. So what are you specifically looking for from OC Bike Fest, and what do you look for from a crowd?
Well, usually we look for the directions to make sure we get there on time. It's not so much what we're looking for. We have to keep in mind what the people who paid the tickets, what they're looking for. And what they're looking for is most people, if they go to the rock show, want an exciting, high energy rock program. How do you think Mick Jagger's lasted all these years, or Tom Jones, or The Who, and all these people? Well, they give the people what they want, and they want something that is exciting, which is what rock is. I mean, that's the calling card of the whole thing. So we're looking forward to saying, well, what do the people want? We will go to the promoter and say, well, what do these people want? Sometimes they'll say, they want you to move it on over. They want you to do bourbon, scotch, and beer. They want you to bad to the bone. I go, okay, we'll do that. That sounds good. You're the boss. Makes it easy.
Yeah, well, I think that it's refreshing to hear a musician say that you're really all in it for the fans. Like, that's a really nice thing to hear, because, there are a lot of musicians where it's really about how they want to do the performance, and that's totally a legitimate way to do things. But knowing that you feed your energy off of what you're giving is really cool.
Well, I have people say, what do you do for a living, George? And I go, I'm a waiter. I'm a rock and roll waiter. I wait on the people. Here's the menu. Here's the menu. Is there anything on there you'd like? Yes, we'd like this. Okay, you got it. Okay, that'll be $18 plus a 15% tip. Okay, so I'm a waiter is what I am, Nikki.
Yeah. Well, I think you wait well then. That actually kind of leads into what my next question was, which was, do you have a go-to set list for your concerts, or is it kind of a grab bag?
Well, what we do is we send out a feeler like anybody else. I learned this from David Crosby and Crosby, Stills and Nash. Other bands do it, I'm sure, but they were the first ones I knew about it. And they sent out a feeler that said, name the songs. We only have a certain amount of time to play, and name the songs, the top 10 or 15 you really want to hear live. And we do that about 2 or 3 times a year, just see if it's a market we haven't been to in a while, and just see what comes up. And then we say, okay, well, we can do this and we can do that. And then a couple of them we go, well, I don't know. Let's try and rehearse that thing. So we put out a feeler there of what they want. But hey, if we go out and say in an interview with Nikki and say, well, we're going to go on the tour again, but just remember, we're not going to do Who Do You Love or Get a Haircut or Move It On Over. Give me my money back, please. Yeah. So it's a logical decision on our part.
Right. So there are a couple of go-tos that people can expect, and then a couple of things that might change up from concert to concert, it seems.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with a little mystery in the world, Nikki.
For sure.
A little expect the unexpected thing. That's the flavor of life. One thing is for sure, they know what songs ThoroGood's going to play. We said, God knows what's going to come out of that man's mouth in between songs.
All right. Well, I'm sure that people will have to flock to see what will happen in between. It's the in-betweens.
Flock to see us. Boy, that's a good way of phrasing it.
Well, they definitely will, because OC Bike Fest in and of itself is so cool. But then, like I said, or like you said, you're going, so it's certified cool. People are going to show up. They're going to flock.
Well, you said flock, so maybe I should change from being a waiter to a shepherd. I'll keep that in mind.
Less tips in being a shepherd, though, I think. So are we going to hear anything off of your 2017 solo album at OC Bike Fest? Do you know that?
Listen, Nikki, those choppers are very loud. It's not the place for an acoustic guitar. Okay, it's not the place for a solo. I'm pretty sure what they want to hear. And the answer to that, I won't say unfortunately, but that's not what I do when I do a live show. I do a few other things on a radio show like yours when I come into the studio. But the live show, it's time to rock. That's what they're there for. I'm not. Hey, I'm lucky enough to get one guitar to work. If I got to get a couple other acoustic, I said, oh man, I'm asking for trouble. It's a hard enough time to pull off what I'm doing already.
All right, so I can quote you on "We're Here to Rock" on September 17th at OC Bike Fest.
Well, that's what I believe that's what they pay us for. They want a rock show. That's basically it.
Awesome.
I'll say this. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Since we're doing this motorcycle thing, I took, especially all around the world, but in America, I always said the acoustic guitar it's the machine of protest. Because I grew up I heard a lot of Bob Dylan. I heard a lot of Peter, Paul, and Mary and Odetta and people like that. I said the acoustic guitar is the symbol of protest. The electric guitar is the symbol of rebellion. I mean, The Who,
right.
My generation,
right.
Come on, that's it. And I look at the motorcycle, and that's the machine. It's a symbol of freedom. So, you saw Easy Rider more than once, right?
Right,
so,
right.
You know what I'm talking about. So when I go to these places, I go, we're combination with freedom and rebellion. Well, that's a pretty heavy combination. So that's what makes it fun.
It seems like a match made in heaven, really.
Well, that's why they do these things. Some of these motorcycles, not like the other days. I used to see some of these things, and man, they are immaculate machines. I mean, insurance enough is probably $100,000 a year. These people probably put $50,000 into these machines, and they are beautiful.
They are.
So it's more of an institution now than a bunch of free form guys. Have a few Budweisers, jump on the bike, go hear the Grateful Dead, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's much different now. It's much more manicured, which is okay. Mm-hmm. Some of these people, design these bikes, and I go to the bike shows sometimes before the show and look at these machines. I go, oh my God, that must have taken a year to just even think of this thing.
Right.
So part of that is entertainment for me too,
Right. Well, and there are so few things in this world that people are more passionate about than I think bikes and rock. Those are two things that people just really care about. So it makes a lot of sense that we're blending those two things with your performance.
Well, when you saw the movie The Wild One, when it started, and you saw Marlon Brando on the motorcycle, when it started, the only thing missing when he was coming down the road with the Black Rebels, his motorcycle gang, was a rock song. And what they thought of in Easy Rider, when Peter Fonda throws the watch away and then they take off and they play Born to Be Wild, I said, well, that's it. Everybody got it. I said, they nailed it, right? They didn't even have to go the rest of the movie. That could have been it.
Right.
It could have been a perfect video.
Right, because it was freedom and rebellion, like you said.
Exactly, wrapped into one. Well, I didn't create this formula. I just adhere to it.
Well, you adhere to it well, and we will be able to see it Thursday, September 17th at 8 p.m. on the main stage of OC Bike Fest. George ThoroGood, thank you so much for hanging out with us today and for answering our questions. We cannot wait to see you live.
Rock and roll never sleeps. It just passes out.
All right. So we also have something from the marketing director of OC Bike Fest, Chase Michael. He's going to hop on the call real quick and give us some announcements about OC Bike Fest. Chase, take it away.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
That was fantastic to listen to. What an entertaining guy, huh?
Right, for sure. I'm cracking up over here.
I was laughing the whole time. I just wanted to thank you to all of the people who have supported the event to this point. The whole lineup has been very well received this year. George ThoroGood and Foghat on Thursday the 17th has been a great success so far as ticket sales. And then Friday, September 18th is Billy Idol and Joan Jett, followed Saturday by Kid Rock. So we have a couple of more band announcements coming in the next week or two. Excited to get those out there. It's obviously a interesting time in the world right now. So we're doing all we can do to full steam ahead and get to September and have an incredible time. But if you want, you can buy tickets now at ocbikefest.com, or the direct link is ocbikefest20.eventbrite.com. That'll take you right to get to the tickets you want. There still are some VIP tickets left to see George ThoroGood, as well as some general admission 3-day event passes as well. And I appreciate all the support so far. We all do. And we hope that everybody stays home and stays healthy through this time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chase. All right. So again, the link to go get your tickets is ocbikefest.com. Actually, all of the information for OC Bike Fest is over there. It's a beautiful website. That's ocbikefest.com. Thank you so much to Chase. Thank you so much to George ThoroGood. My name is Nikki with 93.5 The Beach.